Chosen one, the night ahead is not like any other. The air itself carries a weight, a quiet intensity that whispers of something unfolding beyond the veil of ordinary hours. You have felt it stirring, the pull in your spirit that says change is near, that a signal is on its way. Tonight is not a coincidence, it is alignment. The universe has been gathering pieces, shaping events, moving energy into place, and now the moment is approaching when confirmation will find you. This is the night when what was hidden begins to be revealed, when the questions that haunted you will start to receive answers. Before we go further, I want to pause for something important. If you are hearing this now, do not leave until the very end of this message, because what we are opening here is not random, it is for you. And I encourage you, write your warmest wishes in the comments below and end them with 777. This is more than words on a screen. It is energy sent into the universe, a signal that you are ready to align with what has always been waiting. When you release those wishes, you are planting seeds that will return to you multiplied, because tonight is a night when the universe listens closely. The truth is, confirmation is not a random event. It is the universe responding to your faith, your persistence, your refusal to give up, even when the silence felt unbearable. For so long, you may have wondered if your prayers, your thoughts, your tears were noticed. You may have questioned if your path mattered, if your effort meant anything at all, but every step, every whispered hope, every sleepless night was recorded, not in silence, but in resonance. Energy does not vanish. It collects, and when the time is right, it answers back. Tonight carries that resonance. You see, confirmation does not arrive when you feel most in control. It arrives when you are most surrendered, when you have done all you can and still choose to trust, when you no longer force the outcome, but remain open to receive. That is when alignment appears. The signs may be subtle, a message, a dream, chance encounter, or even a sudden peace that washes over you with no explanation. But when it comes, you will know. You will not need to question whether it is for you, because it will land with the weight of recognition deep in your spirit. Think about the times when life felt delayed, when opportunities slipped through your hands, when silence was the only response you received. You may have believed those were wasted seasons, but they were not. They were preparation. They were the gathering of threads, the unseen weaving that had to be complete before confirmation could reach you. Tonight does not erase the waiting, it proves it was never empty. It was building toward this exact moment. The night carries a mystery that the day does not. When the world quiets down, when distractions fade, when darkness covers the noise, your spirit becomes sharper. That is why confirmation so often arrives in the night. It is not because the universe hides. It is because your senses awaken. You can hear the whisper that daylight drowns out. You can feel the stirring more clearly when silence surrounds you. The very stillness of the night creates the space for revelation. Do not be surprised if tonight brings you a sense of clarity you did not expect. What once felt tangled will suddenly feel simple. What once seemed blocked will begin to open. The weight of confusion will start to lift, replaced by a certainty you cannot explain but cannot deny. That is confirmation, not always loud, not always dramatic, but undeniable. It is the moment your spirit says, yes, this is it. And understand this, confirmation is not just reassurance, it is activation. It is the green light that signals you to move, the nudge that says the waiting is over. For so long you may have hesitated, unsure if you should act, if you should step forward, if you should risk again. But when confirmation arrives, it will remove hesitation. It will align your heart with courage and your steps with certainty. That is the power of tonight. Remember also that confirmation comes in layers. Tonight may not show you the entire picture, but it will give you enough to move, enough to trust, enough to know you are not lost. The path will reveal itself as you walk, and each piece of confirmation will guide the next. It is like stars in the night sky. You may not see the full map, but one light is enough to guide you to the next, and then the next, until the horizon begins to glow. This is why tonight matters. It is not about receiving everything at once, it is about receiving what you need to continue. And when you do, the heaviness that has sat on your chest will begin to lift. The doubt that gnawed at your mind will begin to fade. The silence that once felt endless will begin to break. Confirmation is the proof that you were never walking alone, that the path was alive all along, waiting for the right time to reveal itself to you. So as this night unfolds, remain open. Pay attention to the whispers, to the signs, to the quiet nudges that stir your heart. Do not dismiss them as coincidence. Nothing aligned for this long could be coincidence. This is the moment the universe speaks back, the moment you realize your waiting has always been leading to now. The confirmation will not only arrive, it will settle into you like an anchor, and from this point forward, you will know the night you doubted most was the night everything began to shift. The hours before confirmation arrives can feel like a test of endurance. Time seems to slow, every thought runs louder, and the weight of uncertainty presses heavier than ever. This is because the threshold is near, and thresholds always carry resistance. When you are closest to alignment, doubt rises most fiercely. It whispers that nothing is happening, that nothing will change, that all your waiting has been for nothing. But this is not the truth. It is the final barrier, the last attempt to keep you from recognizing what is already unfolding. Waiting at the edge of a breakthrough can feel like standing in darkness just before the dawn. You know light is coming, but the night stretches long, daring you to believe. This is the point where many give up, turning back too soon, mistaking silence for rejection. But silence at this stage is not rejection. It is preparation. The universe gathers its signals, pulling threads you cannot see until at the right moment it delivers what your spirit has been waiting to hear. Confirmation, when it arrives, often comes in ways that catch you off guard. It may not look like what you expected, but it will resonate in a way nothing else could. You may overhear a word that speaks directly to your situation. A message may arrive with uncanny timing. A dream may leave you with an undeniable sense of knowing. These are not random. They are threads of destiny woven to assure you that you are on the right path. This is why patience in the waiting is as important as action in the moving. Without patience, you abandon the road too soon. Without action, you never step onto it at all. The two must work together, faith to wait and courage to walk when the sign comes. Tonight carries the potential for that union, the moment when what you have endured in silence meets what you are ready to live in truth. You may feel tension in your body, a stirring in your spirit, an unshakable sense that something is drawing near. Do not dismiss it. These are signs that alignment is already at work. The universe whispers before it shouts, and if you quiet yourself enough, you will recognize the shift. The signs you receive tonight may not explain everything, but they will carry enough weight to guide you to the next step. And this is the beauty of confirmation. It never arrives empty. It comes carrying peace, the kind that does not make sense to the mind, but settles into the heart. It is not always about solving every problem instantly. It is about giving you the anchor you need to continue without fear. That anchor is what transforms doubt into assurance, hesitation into movement, and waiting into walking. The question is not whether confirmation will arrive, it is whether you are prepared to recognize it when it does. For some, it will slip past unnoticed, disguised as something ordinary. But for those who are awake, it will shine with undeniable clarity. That is why awareness is everything tonight. Stay open, stay attentive, stay ready to receive. The journey toward confirmation unfolds like a series of quiet ripples that begin to build into waves. At first, you may sense only the smallest shifts, moments so subtle you question if they mean anything at all. A word repeated in unexpected places, a number that follows you through the day, a sudden thought that lands with unusual weight. These small signs are often overlooked, but they are the first whispers of the larger message preparing to arrive. What feels ordinary at first is often the seed of something extraordinary. As the night deepens, your awareness sharpens. There is a certain clarity that arrives when distractions fade and silence takes hold. This is when the spirit hears more clearly. What once seemed tangled in noise suddenly begins to make sense. Patterns reveal themselves, connections emerge, and you realize the confirmation you've been waiting for has been forming around you for longer than you knew. Tonight is not the beginning of it, it is the unveiling of what has been quietly aligned behind the scenes. This unveiling does not always come with fireworks. Sometimes confirmation is not loud but steady. It settles into you with the weight of truth that needs no proof. It is the kind of knowing that silences questions, that quiets fears without needing to argue with them. You will not have to force yourself to believe it, because when it arrives, it will fit perfectly into the space your spirit has been carrying. It will not strain or confuse, it will resonate. This is where trust becomes essential. Confirmation is not always about giving you every detail. It is about assuring you that the steps you are taking are not in vain. You may still not know the full map ahead, but tonight you will be given enough to continue, enough light to walk one more mile, enough clarity to silence the urge to quit, enough certainty to remind you that you are not wandering, you are guided. And as that guidance sinks in, something begins to shift within you. The waiting no longer feels like punishment, it feels like preparation. The silence no longer feels empty, it feels purposeful. The obstacles that once discouraged you now make sense as part of a greater alignment. You realize that none of it was wasted. Every delay carried intention, every pause contained wisdom, every unanswered prayer was an answer in disguise, shaping you for this very night. Tonight is not just about receiving confirmation, it is about receiving perspective. Seeing the past through new eyes, understanding that what once seemed like detours were actually directions, recognizing that the universe was never ignoring you but guiding you toward a moment you were strong enough to hold. This shift in perspective is powerful because once you see your journey through this lens, you will never walk the same again. So as you step further into this night, remain attentive. Confirmation will not just knock at your door, it will enter the atmosphere around you. It may come through a sign, a feeling, a word, or even a stillness that feels different than all the rest. However it comes, it will carry the undeniable mark of alignment, and when it arrives, you will know. This is the moment everything begins to take shape. There is a point in the waiting where your spirit begins to feel the pull more strongly than your mind can comprehend. It is as if the very air around you carries a vibration, a subtle shift that whispers that the moment is close. You cannot explain it, but you know it. This is the edge of confirmation, the thin place where the unseen and the seen prepare to meet. It is here that the tension grows strongest, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is converging at once. The hours before the signal comes are often filled with doubt. Old fears rise to the surface, memories of disappointment try to steal your confidence, and the weight of silence presses harder than before. This is natural because breakthrough always stirs resistance. The closer you come to clarity, the louder the noise of uncertainty will grow. But remember this, resistance is not proof that you are failing. It is proof that you are near the turning point. The darkness always thickens before dawn. When confirmation finally begins to reveal itself, it does so with a strange mixture of subtlety and power. You may not hear a trumpet sound or see a dramatic sign in the sky, but what you will feel is unmistakable. It may be a conversation that speaks directly to your hidden questions. It may be a message arriving at the exact time you needed reassurance. It may be an overwhelming peace that settles on you so deeply that nothing can shake it. These are not accidents. They are the language of alignment, the way the universe chooses to answer. The key is not to look for what you expect, but to stay open to what arrives. Confirmation often surprises you. It may not come in the form you imagined, but it will carry a truth so strong that it cannot be ignored. You will not have to force yourself to believe. It will resonate so deeply that belief becomes effortless. That resonance is the mark of authenticity. When it arrives, you will know it belongs to you. This moment changes everything. It is not just reassurance, it is permission. It tells you that you are not mistaken, that your faith has not been wasted, that your patience has not been in vain. It tells you that the doors ahead are ready to open, that the silence has served its purpose, that you are aligned with the movement of destiny itself. This is why confirmation is so powerful. It does not only comfort you, it propels you. It removes the weight of hesitation and fills you with courage to step fully into what has been waiting for you. And as the night carries this message to you, remember, it is not about a single sign, but about a shift. It is about the way your spirit rises when the signal arrives, the way your perspective changes, the way your strength multiplies. That is the true confirmation, not just an external sign, but an internal awakening. It is the moment when your heart says with certainty, "Yes, this is mine. This is the moment I have been waiting for." So stay awake in spirit, stay attentive in heart. Tonight is not an ordinary night. It carries the weight of answers, the energy of alignment, and the clarity you have longed for. When the confirmation arrives, you will not miss it. It will land with such force of recognition that you will know beyond doubt this was always meant for you. The arrival of confirmation is not the end of your journey, it is the ignition of a new chapter. Up until this point, you have carried questions, walked through silence, and endured uncertainty. But when the signal comes, something within you shifts forever. You will notice that the weight you once carried begins to lift, as though the unseen chains that held you back have been quietly broken. There is a freedom in knowing that what you believed for was not in vain, that the road you walked was not wasted, that the timing you questioned was, in fact, divine. When the confirmation touches your spirit, it has a way of rewriting your memory of the waiting. Suddenly you begin to see the delays differently. The closed doors, the missed opportunities, the unanswered nights of prayer, they all start to make sense. What once felt like rejection now looks like redirection. What once looked like loss now reveals itself as protection. You realize that nothing was withheld from you. Instead, everything was preserved for the right moment so that when it arrived, you would be strong enough to hold it. And this strength is not a small thing. It is what separates those who collapse under the weight of fulfillment from those who can carry it. Confirmation does not arrive to validate your past alone. It arrives to prepare you for what comes next. It gives you confidence, yes, but it also gives you responsibility. It says, now that you know, what will you do with this? The signal is not the conclusion, it is the call to action. It is the moment when belief must become movement, when trust must become steps. You will feel the energy of alignment guiding you forward. Doors that once seemed locked will begin to open. Conversations that once went nowhere will suddenly carry opportunity. The people you meet, the places you go, the timing of events, all of it will begin to connect with a precision that leaves you in awe. This is the rhythm of confirmation. It does not just tell you that you are on the right path, it surrounds you with evidence of it. Every day after this moment begins to echo the truth that tonight has revealed. But with this comes a choice. You cannot receive confirmation and then remain still. The path requires participation. If you try to stay in the same place, the energy will fade and the window will close. The signal is not meant to soothe you into comfort, it is meant to awaken you into action. You must take the courage it gives and let it propel you forward into what has been waiting. Do not underestimate the power of small steps after confirmation. Each decision you make carries multiplied weight because it is aligned with clarity. Even if you cannot see the entire future, the next step will be illuminated. And when you move with that clarity, progress accelerates. What took years before may take weeks now. What seemed impossible before now feels inevitable. The shift is real, and it is happening. So embrace this moment fully. Let the assurance settle into your heart, let the courage rise in your spirit, and let the clarity guide your hands. The confirmation has arrived not just to comfort you, but to launch you. This is the moment where waiting transforms into walking and where your path opens with undeniable force. The period after receiving confirmation is often the most delicate part of the journey. You carry with you the weight of what has been revealed, the assurance that your waiting was not empty, and the clarity that the universe has spoken back. But with this comes a new responsibility to nurture what you've been given. Many receive signs, many receive reassurance, but few know how to hold it, protect it, and walk with it until it fully manifests. This is the challenge of this stage, not to doubt what you have received, but to remain faithful to it. Confirmation can feel like a spark. At first, it burns brightly, filling your heart with fire and your mind with vision. Yet sparks require tending if they are to become flames. If neglected, they fade into ashes. This is why your posture after confirmation matters just as much as your patience before it. You must choose to carry the assurance forward, not letting daily distractions or the voices of doubt choke it out. The spark has been given, but you are the one who must guard it until it grows. This stage also calls for discernment. After receiving a signal, it is tempting to rush ahead, to push every door open at once, to force everything into motion. But confirmation is not always a demand for speed, it is a call to alignment. Some doors will open quickly, others will require time. Your task is not to force the timing, but to recognize it. If you try to move too fast, you risk stepping out of rhythm. If you move too slow, you may miss the window. The balance lies in staying attentive, listening, and responding with steady confidence. It is in this stage that subtle tests arise. Small frustrations, unexpected delays, or even people who try to plant doubt in your mind. These are not meant to undo you, but to refine you further. They ask a question: do you truly believe what you received, or was your belief dependent on circumstances staying easy? To pass these tests, you must remember the weight of what confirmation carried into your spirit. That moment of clarity was not fragile, it was truth. And truth does not crumble under pressure. You will also notice that the energy around you begins to shift. Conversations will change. Certain people may draw closer while others fade away. New opportunities will appear, carrying the unmistakable mark of timing. These shifts are proof that you are no longer in the season of waiting. You are in the season of unfolding. The world around you is rearranging itself to meet the clarity that was spoken into your life. And perhaps most importantly, you will feel a transformation within yourself. Where once there was hesitation, there is now boldness. Where once you questioned every step, now you move with calm assurance. This change does not mean the road will always be easy, but it does mean you now walk with an anchor in your spirit. The confirmation has rooted itself so deeply within you that even when storms rise, you no longer doubt the direction. This is the power of carrying confirmation. It changes not only what happens around you, but who you are inside. It strengthens your faith, sharpens your vision, and prepares you for the next layer of the journey. The night has already given its signal. The question now is not whether it was real, it is whether you will hold it close and let it guide you forward. The days that follow confirmation are filled with a strange mixture of stillness and movement. On one hand, you feel grounded in a way you never did before, anchored by the clarity you received. On the other, you notice subtle shifts happening around you that push you forward. This stage is not about waiting anymore, it is about learning how to walk with what has been revealed. You are no longer asking if the path exists, you are learning how to travel it with wisdom. At this point, you may notice that life begins to test the depth of your conviction. Small challenges may rise again, not to undo your progress, but to refine your response. Where you once reacted with fear, you will now respond with assurance. Where you once hesitated, you will now act with quiet boldness. The purpose of these moments is not to weaken your faith, but to prove to you how much you have grown since the beginning of this journey. They are reflections that show you the difference between who you were before the signal and who you are now. You will also begin to sense that confirmation does not come only once. The universe continues to echo its alignment in small ways. A word here, a connection there, moments that remind you of the truth you already received. These echoes are not to replace the original message, but to strengthen it, to weave it deeper into your daily life so that doubt has no room to take root again. They are reminders that the alignment you experienced was not a fleeting moment, but the opening of a new season. This stage is also about clarity of vision. With the reassurance you now carry, you can look ahead with different eyes. The obstacles that once looked insurmountable now seem like steps. The uncertainty that once made you pause now looks like possibility. You no longer walk questioning whether you belong. You walk knowing that you are meant to be here, that every step forward is part of the unfolding of what was always waiting for you. Well, what is most profound in this time is the calm that begins to settle into your spirit. You are not rushing, not scrambling, not forcing outcomes. Instead, you walk with steadiness, knowing that what is meant for you will not miss you. This calm is the true fruit of confirmation. It frees you from desperation and replaces it with assurance. It allows you to make decisions with clarity, to move forward without fear, and to trust that timing will align as it should. And perhaps the most powerful realization of all is this: confirmation was never just about the night it arrived. It was about preparing you for everything that comes after. It was the seed, but the harvest is still ahead. You are now carrying a different posture, a different strength, a different light within you. The signal you received has changed not just your direction, but your identity. You are no longer the one who waited, you are the one who knows. The moment of final confirmation is not about noise or spectacle, it is about peace. When the signal fully arrives, it does not demand attention, it settles into you, like a truth you always knew but needed to hear one more time. Tonight was never about proving whether you were seen. It was about reminding you that you have been guided all along. The waiting, the silence, the endless questions, they were not wasted. They were shaping you for this exact arrival, preparing you to hold what once felt too heavy for your hands. As the night unfolds, you realize that the confirmation is not only external, it is internal. The sign may come through a message, a dream, or an encounter, but the real transformation happens within you. Something shifts permanently. Fear loses its grip. Doubt fades into the background, and a steady assurance begins to anchor your steps. It is not just a feeling, it is a knowing, a deep recognition that what you have been walking toward is not only possible, but inevitable. From this point forward, the way you walk will change. You no longer move with hesitation, you move with trust. You no longer question every turn, you lean into the flow of alignment. The confirmation you receive tonight is not a single event, it is the opening of a new season. A season where clarity leads the way, where doors open without forcing, where timing no longer feels like delay, but like precision. What once felt distant is now within reach, and what once felt uncertain is now undeniable. This is why tonight matters so deeply. It is not about the sign itself. It is about what it awakens in you. The world may not understand why this moment feels so significant, but you know. You can feel the shift, the quiet strength that rises in your chest, the sense that everything around you has aligned for this very hour. That feeling is confirmation, that knowing is your answer. Carry this assurance with you. Guard it, nurture it, let it guide every choice you make from here on. The confirmation that arrived tonight is not fragile. It is unshakable. It is the evidence that your waiting was never ignored, that your persistence has been seen, and that your journey has only just begun. You step into tomorrow not as someone searching, but as someone who has found their signal. And from this night forward, you will never doubt again that alignment is real, that timing is perfect, and that your path is alive beneath your feet. This is the night you will remember. The night where questions turned to answers, where silence gave way to clarity, where doubt gave way to peace. This is the night of confirmation, the one that proves you are exactly where you are meant to be.